I don't know what it is. I feel like 2024 just started, and it's already July. That's crazy. That's crazy. This year has flown by pretty fast, and I don't really know what to think of that. I'm going to be totally honest with you. Hey, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Dan Cave. I'm your host, Danny Costa, and today we're going to be talking about something interesting. I don't really know. They're called Labubus. Has anybody ever heard of these Labubus? Yeah, it's a new craze. It's like this. I started going down, guys. I was up till like 2 a.m. last night going into this, and it's crazy because I had planned to do this, to talk about this, and my friend texts me, and she's like, "You should talk about Labubus in your next podcast episode." And I'm like, okay, I'm on the right track because these things are crazy to me. If anybody's not familiar with Labubus, also to everybody that's tuning on YouTube, thank you. To Spotify and Apple Podcasts, thank you. Just want to throw that out there. You guys are awesome, and I appreciate you guys. My mind just went there. I just want to throw out a little subtle appreciation in the beginning of this. But let's get into Labubus. I don't know how long this topic is gonna be, but we're gonna venture it together. So I have my Wikipedia pulled up here. Labubu is a Chinese brand of collectible plush toy monster elves created by Hong Kong Belgian designer Kassing Lung. I hope I pronounced that right. And marketed by and sold exclusively at China-based retailer Mart. Labubu is also the name of the main character in the series. Okay, so to everybody that's listening, I'm gonna try to describe these Labubus to you, and to anybody that's watching, I'll put a picture of the Labubu to my right here where I'm pointing. Labubus, they're these little monsters, and apparently they're based on Norse mythology. They're almost like humanoid rabbits. I mean, legitimately, they are these little furry plush humanoid rabbits. You could almost think of them like, if anybody's familiar with Where the Wild Things Are, they almost look like the monsters. They have like little sinistery looking, like I'm looking at a picture right now. They have like these little sinistery looking eyes almost, and a big smile with sharp teeth, just the front row or the top row showing. And they have two little rabbit ears that point directly straight up. And I'm like doing whatever. So it's amazing to me. These little plush toys have become like this new craze, and I kept seeing a couple of videos on them for like a couple weeks, and I didn't know why. Like all of a sudden they just started popping up on my feed, and I was like, what are these? Like, why are people going so crazy? You have people in their cars opening them as like, just seeing what they got. You have people in the UK right now. There's stories that the UK, I think, is banning them from selling. Hold on, let me double check this real quick. I want to double check this. I need more wire for my mic. UK bans Labubu? Question mark. Here we go. Labubu fan fury after dolls pulled from stores. Okay, let's look at this real quick. So this is by BBC, and it reads, fans of viral Labubu dolls have reacted angrily online after its maker pulled the toys from all UK stores following reports of customers fighting over them. Why are people... There's so much going on in the world right now, and people are fighting over these dolls. This is crazy to me. Mart, which makes the monster bag charms, told the BBC it had paused selling them in all 16 of its shops until June to prevent any potential safety issues. Okay, fair enough. Labubu fan Victoria Calvert said she witnessed chaos in the Stratford store in London. It was just getting ridiculous to be in that situation where people were fighting and shouting and you felt scared. The soft toys became a TikTok trend after being worn by celebrities like Rihanna and Dua Lipa. Now some retail experts are warning that the stop on stock will only heighten demand. Okay, but there's got to be more to this. And by the way, the more I looked into this last night, the more I saw just how big of a phenomenon this actually was. So it's deemed as a collectible, right? And so we all know what collectors are like these days. It's a lot of, I feel like it's not even a lot of collecting now. It's a lot of reselling, right? Like a lot of these resellers will come in, they'll buy the product, and they'll literally turn around to the person behind them and sell it to them for a profit. It's a huge problem. I feel like people really don't collect anymore. Like I feel like when you would collect something back then, right? Even when I was a kid, when you collected something, like there was a short stint where I collected Beanie Babies, right? I'm ashamed to admit it, but I did. I used to collect Beanie Babies, and this was when I was in like first, second grade or something. And as I was, as you would collect them, you would build your collection organically. Like this wasn't something where you would wait for drops to happen, or you had access to the internet where you could find all these things super quick. And like, excuse me, I feel like a lot of the joy and the charm that came with collecting things now has completely gone out the window, and it's become very consumerized. I don't even know if that's a word. It's consumerism has completely enveloped the idea and the joy and the community of what it meant to collect. And so this is a perfect example. Labubus, I mean, and it's crazy to me too, because these don't even seem like something that, I mean, props to the toy creator. I mean, and here's the thing, as somebody who graduated with a marketing degree, just saying, props to the marketing team. I mean, like, this is crazy to me that you've reached this level of craze in your community. And I just don't, like, I'll never buy one, you know what I mean? But I can also understand the appeal of buying one. Now, when I was looking into this last night too, they do something called a blind box, which to anybody who's wondering, a blind box is basically the equivalent. I mean, it is the equivalent of a mystery box, right? When companies do this, and these guys have gotten this down to a T. It's like when people who are familiar with Pokemon, right? My brother and I and all the neighborhood, back in the 90s when Pokemon first came out, or at least hit the United States, people were buying Pokemon cards, and it was fun and it was cool. You would trade cards, and the community was pretty cool. And it was always that community that felt like, you were a part of. I don't know. And that's the nice thing about any collection that you build. You feel like you're a part of a community. And so, as you would collect these cards, anytime you would open a pack, you didn't know what you were going to get. It was like a mystery box. The difference is with these is you're only getting one. And that's where this company is doing it really, really well. Because every time you go to do this, you're getting that dopamine hit. And what is this equivalent to? It's equivalent to gambling. You don't know what you're going to get. And so you have all of these TikTokers and influencers and everybody now buying these dolls at like such a rapid rate, posting all these videos, trying to build these collections. And it's just crazy to me. And it's not I just don't think it's a genuine collection building community for this. I really don't. I think it's part of a craze. And I think a big part of this is the blind box, right? Because you're getting that, it's a gamble, right? So there's that aspect to it. But then also you have these big pop icons that are doing this. Not only Rihanna, Dua Lipa, but there was a big K-pop star. Let me look into this because I forget her name. Who is the K-pop star that sports? LA was her. I think her initial sports. Labubu. Let me see. We're loading up here. The K-pop star who is widely recognized for sporting Labubu, a brand collectible plush toys, is Lisa of Blackpink. Okay, so there you have it. You have two major influences right here. You have Lisa, the major K-pop star, and then you also have the fact that they're doing these mystery boxes. So yeah, of course people are going to buy these things, and I feel like they've just fallen into this trap. It's like it's almost like I saw somebody I think his Penguins on YouTube. I think his user is like Penguins19. I was watching a video on him, but he called it gotcha tactics, and I kind of like how he worded that. You know, I just don't know any other way to describe it. You fell into this trap of, here's this product. We're gonna make a very select line of these products. And by the way, I feel what I'm hearing too about these Labubus is they the manufacturers and the Pop Mart, the seller of these products, is allegedly intentionally not selling them to these stores for the other fact of, and here's the third big player, scarcity. A lot of people, and anytime you sell something, anytime you provide scarcity to something, they have this wheel now of they've trapped the consumer. It's like, okay, you want a product, okay, you have to buy so many of these to maybe get these rare collectibles, because I think in each collection drop or something that they do, there's like 8 or 9 Labubus that you can potentially get. And these things aren't big. They're not big dolls. They're almost like the size of maybe the palm of your hand, it looks like, or the size of your hand. And all they do is attach to your designer bags, right? So everybody is getting these. It's like the collectible toy equivalent of getting an iPhone. You know what I mean? And so a lot of these people are buying these Labubus, and it's crazy. I mean, again, props to Pop Mart for doing this. I don't know if I'm late to this or not, but I mean, I just keep seeing these dolls everywhere, and so it's just it's wild to me. And let's see. Let me just keep on going here. Labubu is a quirky monster character created by Hong Kong-born artist Kassing Lung. Again, I hope I pronounced that right. And popularized through a collaboration with Toy Store Pop Mart. So another thing that I kept seeing is this company is doing a lot of collaborations. They have like all these quirky videos, all these different things that they do with again, pop stars and influencers. And I mean, what a genius way to get your product out there. And a lot of people are going to sit here and when they hear that and they say, oh, well, it's just so easy. People do that all the time. I understand that. But in the toy market, I feel like toys don't branch out in that way, and to have like this toy monster as a celebrity hanging off of a designer bag that probably doesn't even go with an outfit, right? To have that much, to have that and to bring that into real life, into your everyday, and just make that the norm. That's crazy to me. In the UK, so since gaining celebrity status, they've gone viral as a fashion accessory. In the UK, prices can range from £13.5 to £50. £50. I watched a guy unbox one of these. I don't know how much he paid for it. I think from the way that they worded it, he had paid, I think, upwards of $20 for a pack or something. And again, you only get one. And when he opened it, he immediately looked at the eBay resale value. It was like double. It was like 50. It was 50, just over £56 or something. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. With rare editions going for hundreds of pounds on resale sites such as Vinted and eBay. And see, here's the thing. This is the thing about this product. And this is what I'm telling people. The reason why this is such a craze is you have the mystery box, you have the pop influence, right? The pop culture influence, whatever. But now you have this world that we live in where literally in any community, when people see that a product is popping off, resellers will start to rush to the store lines to grab these products. One of the biggest things, and I think maybe I'm a little off base here. One of the biggest things that you saw with this, and the reason why I use Pokemon as an example, is because it's the perfect example. You saw Logan Paul buy up all these Pokemon cards, Gary Vaynerchuk, right? Bring out all of this hype around Pokemon cards. What did everybody start doing? They started buying up Pokemon cards like crazy. And now we're in this world where kids, I watched a video the other day of a grown ass man buying a boxes of these cards with a little kid behind him waiting with a $20 bill or something. And the kid couldn't even get his pack of cards because some grown-ass 40-year-old adult is buying all of these. And for what? I mean, this is crazy. Crazy. And so now what Labubu is doing is now they're providing scarcity. And so now you're generating more hype and almost fear around not being able to get these products. So what do resellers do? They come in, they buy these products at whatever price that, they buy them at the store at, and they flip them for 2, 3, 4, 5 times the price. And people will pay that because people are crazy. And yes, I will stand on that. People are fucking nuts. There's so much shit to worry about in the world, and you're spending your money on fucking Labubus. Laboobies. You know what I mean? I mean, like, and again, I think Kassing Lung is now a billionaire. Props to him. The company did it right. I mean, hell, as a business owner, what more could you want? But I also enjoy the fact that they are taking a step back when they hear about stories like this where brawls are happening, where they're like, no, we're going to pull out. We're going to pull out because this isn't what this product is intended to do. And also, I really hope that the greed doesn't go to their heads, because from a toy collector standpoint, I feel like, that community, there's still a part of that community or any collector's community that is still genuine in how they want to, achieve their collection. And there's still a genuine and loving and caring factor there. I don't feel like it's completely gone out the window, but in today's world, everybody wants things now. And this is a perfect example of, I don't see it so much as a collector's area. I see it more as it's just a craze. It's just a craze, and it's going to go away. And then Kassing is going to drop the next new lace. I kind of feel like Labubu is set up to be their I don't know their diamond product. I don't know, their entry into now whatever Kassing makes. He's going to say, okay, we're retiring Labubu. I could see him retiring Labubu in the next year, maybe 2, and saying, Labubu's done. Oh, now we have a new product. Do. You know what I mean? And so, and now they've just created this wheel. And by the way, Pop Mart is a very popular toy store. I mean, I was looking at videos of this place and some of these locations. There are lines that you wouldn't, longer than Disney ride lines out of these stores. It's wild to me. You'd never see me in one of those lines. But it's just crazy to me and people have the time to do that? Really? Okay. Look, let's keep going. Pop Mart said it's working on a fairer system for when the toys return to its shelves. See, but that's the thing. How do you do that? I don't know if there's a way to do that. Fair for who? This, and again, this is the problem. Resellers will come in, they will wait and I've seen it, you see it in videos all the time. Resellers will wait in line for hours and hours and hours before they know a shipment is coming into a certain store. And they will wait and wait and wait because they know that, unless they mystery box their store supplies, right? Unless they the only way that I could really see this going down is Labubu contacting every store that they supply with their toys and saying, we're going to give you a set amount of toys that we want to deliver. So let's say Labubu, they have 10,000 toys, right? They have 10,000 Labubus across 10 Pop Marts, right? They're going to go to these stores and they're going to say, we're going to give you X amount of toys, and we're not going to tell you when we deliver them, but we will deliver them on a day that you around the date that you expect a delivery. And they would have to have some sort of deal where they mystery box the supply so that resellers don't wait there for hours and hours and hours. But then you run into the problem, okay, well, now resellers are kind of catching on to this, and now they wait for days. And now you have this new uproar of why are they doing this? And then maybe they lose traction. I don't know how you do this. It's interesting to see how that might work. I mean, that's the first thing that came to mind. I don't know if that would be good, Pop Mart, if for somehow you see a clip of this and you're maybe thinking of ways to distribute your product without fear of resellers destroying what you're trying to create, then maybe think about that. I don't know. But I'm glad you're thinking about it. That's actually a really good, I feel like that's a really good step and direction to be going in and telling your community, hey, we're a toy store first and foremost, and we want to be centered around people who genuinely want to enjoy the product, not just people who are in this for a craze, right? Because crazes only last so long. And then you might get that quick dollar, but you want to, I like the fact that they're trying to build a wholesome brand around toy collecting and toys in general. I think that's really cool. But fans on social... Okay, so next sentence. I didn't even read this, but here we go. Fans on social media were not happy at the decision to pull the dolls. Okay, it's your fault, and in quotes, it's your fault for drip feeding stock to us that caused this hype. One commented on Pop Mart's Instagram post for drip feeding stock to us that caused this hype. So scarcity, right? Wait, like what a smart company would do. Others vented their anger at resellers. Fair, very fair. Buyers are reselling them for £100 for one Labubu, which is unacceptable. Absolutely. I mean, think about this. Like, and I think I heard a story somewhere, allegedly, right? I'm pretty sure I heard a story somewhere of grown-ass adults stealing these from kids. You're stealing these from kids? I will fact check that in a minute. I just want to get through this article. Which is how come they get to buy a toy and other people can't? One said, I get both sides, right? I would still be mad at the reseller, but also it's like they got there first. Just saying. Something to think about. I don't know. So upset that resellers ruin everything, replied another. Fair. Victoria said when she arrived at the store, she met other customers who had been outside since 3 BST, others that had camped overnight. When I got there, there were big crowds of people hovering around the shop, and there was this really negative vibe, she said. Yeah, there would be. Because you have the people there that genuinely want to purchase the product to collect them. Like, these are the people that will come in and buy one maybe, with their paycheck that they budgeted for. You know what I mean? Like, that they're genuinely so excited to go out of their way and buy. Like, they're not buying droves of these once, every day. They're buying these maybe once a month, maybe, because they they worry about or care about their bills or want to build a genuine collection, or, it means something different to them other than just seeing a cash grab, right? When I got to, oh, sorry. People were shouting, basically saying there were no more Labubus left. I even witnessed a fight between a worker and a customer. Crazy. She said she left feeling unsafe. It was a pretty bad experience. It was really scary, she said. Yeah, absolutely. You're fighting over dolls. You're fighting over dolls. Okay. Again, I said this in the beginning. Everything else that's going on in the world right now, you're fighting over a fucking doll. I don't know. Maybe rethink the priorities a little bit. I don't know. Maybe. Victoria said it's probably for the best that Pop Mart paused in-store retails. I think anytime that you're pausing, if you're seeing stories about this and the company is going to actively come in and say, we're going to stop sales because we want people to be safe. Yeah. I think that's a smart move. I think that's a very smart move. And the only people that really, are only going to be pissed at are probably the resellers. And I'm going to come back to them a lot in this podcast because it's true. I mean, a lot of the story around the controversy of a lot of these collections and things, you're in any community that you find, you're going to find the word reseller, and you're going to find a negative connotation around it because resellers just have nothing better to do with their time than come in and just buy shit to sell it, right? And like, part of me, there's a very small part of me that's like, okay, I get it. Like, you're making your money. But the other part of me is like, get a job, get a life, like what are we doing? I don't know. Maybe I'm way, way off base here, right? But go get an actual job. Maybe. Just saying. She believes some people at the front of the queue were resellers because as soon as they got their ticket, apparently they were selling it for £150 and the ticket allowed you to get a Labubu. What? So people went to the front of these stores. Now we're getting creative. You have people going to the front of these lines, waiting there with some fake ticket that they made, saying, if you buy this ticket, that's how I'm reading this. She believes people at the front of the queue were resellers because as soon as they got their ticket, apparently they were selling it for ticket. Ticket for what? To buy a Labubu? So these people, so I guess you would stand in, so how I'm reading this is you would stand in line, the store would give you a ticket to buy one, and people weren't buying their Labubus. Instead, they were turning around and selling their ticket to buy one, because if you didn't have a ticket, you couldn't buy one. So now they're reselling the tickets for 150 pounds so somebody could leave the store with 2 Labubus. That's how I'm reading that. That's crazy. JD, a marketing executive who posts Labubu unboxing videos on TikTok, blames resellers for ruining the fun of the Labubu trend. I agree. I've lived in London my whole life, and there is a resale crowd who does this, she told the BBC. It's really unfortunate, but for the real fans, this is great news and the right decision. She said, now I can go into Pop Mart without having to queue. Okay. You know what? I'm with Labubu on this one. I'm for the company doing this. Because you know what? It's about safety. It's about safety. God forbid a kid of all people, and in today's day and age, you never know. God forbid a kid gets pushed or punched or kicked because he can't get he's got his $20 bill that he goes into the store, and maybe he saved up his allowance or whatever and gets one of these. You know what I mean? So I think they made the right move, and I'm all for them doing this. It's just wild to me. Also, I just kind of want to look into this a little bit more. So the Labubu so they were introduced in 2015. The history of so Labubu began as a character designed by Kassing Lung, a Hong Kong-born, raised in Utrecht. I hope I pronounce it Utrecht, Netherlands, who later settled in Antwerp, Belgium. Labubu was part of Lung's story series The Monsters, which was influenced by Nordic folklore and mythology that he enjoyed during childhood. That's actually pretty cool. I think I had mentioned originally in the beginning of this that that's what they were based off of. Introduced in 2015. Figurines produced by company How to Work. The toy gained wider recognition in 2019 following a collaboration with Pop Mart. This partnership boosted Labubu's popularity among collectors. By 2025, Labubu had released over 300 different Labubu figures, ranging... I love saying that word. I don't know what it is. Side note, I just want to put this out there. I love Labubu. It's just such a weird, funny word to say, I don't know. I don't know how you came up with the name. I think that's so funny. Labubu had released over 300 different Labubu figurines, ranging in size and price from $15 for a 3-inch vinyl figure to $960 for a 31-inch mega edition. Almost $1,000. I mean, you're probably paying $1,000 after tax, right? Maybe? I would think so. In the U.S., at least. I don't know anywhere else. $960 for a 31-inch mega edition. In June, a 4-foot-tall mint green Labubu was sold for $100. In June, guys, a 4-foot-tall mint green Labubu was sold for $170,000 at the first official Labubu auction held in Beijing. $170,000. What the what the hell? This is crazy to me. Who has 170 grand to spend on this? That's and they mention right here, Labubu blind boxes. Labubu figures are often sold in blind boxes, collected into themed lines, which contain a toy chosen at random from that series. Series often contain a rare secret figure in addition to the designs advertised. Wow. This is crazy. In Russia, the Federation Council proposed banning the sale of Labubus. The reason was their frightening appearance and potential harm to children's mental health. Interesting. In Russia, Ekaterina Ekaterina. I'm sorry if I'm botching this. Ekaterina Altabava, deputy chair of the Committee of Science, Education, and Culture, stated that the figures cause children to feel fear. She called on Raspotra. Oh my God, I'm botching this. Raspotrabadzor and Raso Branadzor to consider banning them. Tatiana Butskaya, first deputy chair of the State Duma Committee on Family Protection, reported the Labubus were being sold in Russia in violation of regulations. According to her, there wasn't a single word in Russian on these toys, and the marketing and the marking did not indicate that they were manufactured in Russia. However, the manufacturer does not officially position the toy as a children's toy. It has an age limit of 15 years. And mind you guys, these toys, they're not like, when I say they have like sinister looking eyes, I mean, it's like the perfect combination of creepy and cuddly. You know what I mean? Like, and you're basing this off Norse mythology. Norse mythology doesn't necessarily have the most, and mythology in general, when you're talking about creatures and monsters, doesn't generally have the most inviting appearance. I'll say that, or cuddly or friendly appearance. So the fact that they could box this up and market it as such in a way is pretty wild. And again, props to the toy designer, man. I mean, how do you come up with this stuff? It couldn't be me. I don't know, dude. And then I also heard, what else? There was a or let me I kind of want to look into this too, because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, China is also enacting a law banning blind boxes or mystery boxes because of the gambling factor too. It's basically gambling. I mean, you're buying something and you're investing, you're spending money on something that you don't know what you're going to get. It's gambling, right? So China banning blind boxes. I want to look into this more. Okay, right here, first article. So, Business Insider, Labubu's parent company stock is down after China issued a warning on a lucrative sales strategy. Labubu's parent company, Mart, saw its stock price slide after China issued a warning on the addictive nature of blind boxes. Mart's stock dropped more than 5% on Friday and about 14% in the past 5 days. The slump comes after People's Daily, a publication run by the Chinese Communist Party, published an article on Thursday warning about the blind box strategy, saying its addictive nature can hook children. Yeah, it can. Now, here's the thing. Then I don't understand why we're still allowed to. I don't understand the craze of, again, Pokemon cards, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, right? It's the same thing. You're opening a pack and you don't know what you're getting. So it's not only going to affect Labubu, which I think is in the toy industry as a whole. I don't know if this is going to be, a countrywide ban. I don't know. In the toy industry, I believe it's it's $21 billion. How big is the toy industry? Way off. Globally, it's valued at approximately $114.4 billion in 2024. The U.S. market is a significant portion of this, with over $40 billion in sales, according to Statista. So you're going to see this number move. I don't know if you're going to see it drop. And again, I'm not a business podcast. I don't like. All I'm saying is, you have this massive toy company and this massive pop bar, and you have this massive brand right now that's doing numbers, that is going to completely have to shift its marketing strategy to get, make the sale. I just don't think that's going to happen. You're either going to have to price the rarer items, and maybe you're at a point in the craze now where people will still buy them, but you're taking away a lot of the magic of these toys by revealing what the product already is when you're buying it, right? And so I don't know, like, there are other companies that do this. I'm sure throughout China there are, you know, big companies, um, and they're going to completely have to shift their marketing strategy, and they're going to completely their sales are going to go down, their stock is going to go down. We've already seen it just by the mention of getting rid of these blind boxes, because people know that this is a big reason why people are buying the product, because there's a magic. You don't know what you're going to get. It's an adrenaline rush. It's a dopamine hit. It's gambling. And so I'm curious to see where this goes. I don't know. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see the direction that they move in, not just with these guys with Pop Mart, but with a lot of other companies. I just want to check something else real quick. So Labubu, Norse history. I just want to, because they were saying that, I just want to. So it's based on Norse mythology, but where? Um, Character included. I don't know if there's. Here's something interesting. Why is Labubu 8 months? Why is Labubu being associated with demons, and on what basis can we make this claim? Labubu is the creation of the famous artist. Okay, so they're regurgitating information. Let me see. They're involved with for his loves. Okay, so he loved Norse mythology, and his love for elves and strange animals for the three Nordic fairy tale picture books, where 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 live the monsters, which are both good and evil, including Zimomo, Taikoko, Spooky, and Pato. Among them, the most famous one is Labubu, a small monster with high, pointed ears and serrated teeth. Some may associate that as demonic. Um, it's interesting. That's very interesting. And the fact that the age cap on this is 15, and kids are buying this and they're seeing it as like, oh, this is this is cute and cuddly. That's how I saw Beanie Babies. Beanie Babies literally were cute and cuddly. And these things, they look cuddly. I don't know if they're necessarily the cutest toy on the market, but people are buying them, and it's crazy to me how these things work. I don't know. So those are Labubus. Listen, I again, I don't know if this is just a craze. I feel like it is. I feel like this is going to go away in like a year, but I don't know. I can't remember the last time something like this happened, other than the whole Pokemon craze. And I'm not big in collecting. I look, I rarely collect stuff. Everything that you see in my studio space is all just if I like it, I'm going to get it. I don't know if it's worth a lot of money. I don't care if it's worth a lot of money. I like it because at the heart of it, the reason why I quote unquote collect or buy things is because I draw some sort of personal connection to it. And I feel like, again, that's where a lot of this has just gone wrong with the Labubu community. It's driven by greed. You don't really have a collector's. I'm sure there is still that light of and purity of collecting these toys, but the majority of it is just resellers coming in at any sense or whiff of something popping off, and they're just going to come in and buy everything and just make it a living hell for everybody else. And that's why I say get a job, do something, go be productive, go be a productive member of society. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I don't know the reseller community that much. I mean, I think another area you see this a lot into is sneakers. But from what I've seen with sneakers, it's interesting because a lot of the people that are reselling sneakers have a genuine passion for getting somebody the right sneaker. And maybe I just haven't looked into this enough to know, because when you're looking at something from the surface, yeah, it seems good, and then you start digging more and more and more. And it's like, okay, yeah, I get it, right? Like, I'll give you a perfect example. I used to do hiking content way back when I started my content journey. I was like, oh, hiking would be fun. And then you start to realize how much everybody just bitches in that community, like over the stupidest shit, right? And then you realize, out of all things that could be expensive in outdoor and recreational activities, hiking is probably one of the most expensive. You know what I mean? Like hiking is ridiculously unnecessarily expensive. You're gonna, I wonder, people who at their core just want to enjoy nature and just get out and walk, and you're charging $400 for a pair of $400 for a pair of boots. I mean, they're gonna last, but like, and then people want to buy hiking poles and all these like lightweight pants and stuff. Yeah, I get it, but then you're talking about, I want to go, I want to go hike in the desert. Okay, well, you better be ready to spend like $1,000 on outfits and gear to comfortably hike in that, you know, in that atmosphere. Maybe $1,000 is a little off, but you get what I mean, right? Like you're spending a lot of money on something that you want to do and enjoy and be comfortable and in enjoying that and with other people, and then you slowly find out that it's really expensive, and you find out that the community is just everybody. If you're not expecting perfect conditions, everybody just leaves bad reviews of trails and all this other stuff. I mean, like that's why it just turned me off so bad. And then you start to like understand who the people are that are like real hardcore die hard hikers, and it was just cringy. I don't know, like I wanted to just get out and walk, but a lot of the people that you would run into are just like, whoa, hey, like very. I don't know how to. I'm just gonna say like very just very hippy dippy. Like I'm all about nature. Don't get me wrong. Like I absolutely. You would either run into two types of people. You'd run into like hippy dippy, or you just run into Karens. You run into Karens everywhere. You know what I mean? And then you would run into people who like God forbid you stop on a trail and like take a picture and like I'm out of the way, and people will still give you shit for taking a picture. You know what I mean? Like I ran into that so many times, and it got under my skin, and I was like, okay, we don't need to do this. But you start to look into a community more and more and more, and you start to slowly find that it's just not what it seems. It's really not. It is just, you start to figure out the bad. And again, maybe I just haven't looked into the reseller community for sneakers, but for every video that I've seen of sneakers, the resellers are pretty cool, man. Like they'll even do like coin flips with people who bring in shoes. Like if they want them, they'll offer them a little bit more money or a little bit less, like a gamble, right? Whatever. And sometimes they lose out. Some, lose, again, in quotes, lose out. They know what they're making. They know what they're pricing. But the fact that they're doing that and being, creating a little bit more fun in that community, giving it a little bit more of an experience, I guess, is really heartening to, it warms my heart to see. Right. And so, yeah, I don't know. I think Labubu is a craze. Are they going to stick around? I don't know. Again, my prediction, they're going to be here for a year. They're going to sell out. They're going to introduce a new product line to move away from Labubu. It's and rinse and repeat. And I think that, honestly, that's probably going to be another way where they're just going to kind of diminish the whole, okay, well, we need to stop putting these in stores. Well, now we need to start rolling out different products to get a new craze going. I think they're on this craze train now. Maybe. I don't know. Just my guess, just from what I've seen. Okay, guys, I think we've talked about Labubus enough. I think we've talked about them enough. I want to just really quick. I just want to move into, so last week, I had mentioned that, on this podcast, I'm a big supporter of finding a cure for Alzheimer's. And, my grandfather had it. And if you go in the description on my YouTube videos and my Spotify, you'll see links and resources for alz.org and curealz.org. And I just kind of want to throw this little plug in here just for anybody who's going through somebody having Alzheimer's, because it's not easy to deal with. So again, like I said last week, please consider donating to the Alzheimer's Association at www.alz.org or the Cure Alzheimer's Fund at curealz.org. Both organizations are doing incredible work in research, support, and advocacy. The Alzheimer's Association also offers a 24/7 helpline at 1-800-272-3900. Again, that's 1-800-272-3900 to provide information, support, and guidance. At any time, day or night. So, if anybody's dealing with something, a family member or loved one with Alzheimer's, please go get the support that you need. Please talk to somebody. If you don't know who to talk to, please just call the helpline for more information to figure out how to navigate it better. I've seen what it can do to people firsthand, and it's not pretty and it's not fun. And I really hope that somebody isn't experiencing this with a loved one or family member, because it's very draining. And again, me being as old as I was and remembering, specific scenarios, seeing my grandfather in the state that he was in, it's not a pretty sight sometimes. And so please go seek any help or information or guidance that you may need. And if you ever need to talk about that, shoot me a DM. Maybe we can have a conversation on here about it. I would like to think that, I'd like to throw myself out there to be some sort of support line in any way that I can. So thank you guys for listening to that and understanding that. And let's move on to the next little segment. So look, I had kind of planned this whole time to talk about Labubus. I feel like we've kind of gone. It's almost getting to the point now where I'm saying the word Labubu and doesn't sound like a word. What is that? Hold on. We need to look into this real quick. Okay. What does it mean when you say a word so much that it doesn't sound like a word anymore? What is that? When you say a word so much that it no longer sounds like a word, this phenomenon is called semantic satiation. It occurs because your brain, after repeatedly processing the same word, becomes less responsive to its meaning and sound. This can make the word sound unfamiliar or even lose its meaning. Interesting. I'm kind of in shock. I don't really know where to go from here. I'm gonna be totally honest with you guys. Like, it's just one of those topics where I'm not familiar enough with it to draw other connections, I guess, or pivot in it. It's such a niche topic that I don't really know how to pivot in another direction. You know what I mean? Like, well, maybe we could. I don't know. If you haven't already, maybe go buy one. I'm not going to, but maybe go see what the craze is all about. If you do, leave a comment below. Let me know what you think of them. Go buy a Labubu that you can hang off of your designer bag and show off to your friends, and for whatever reason, heal that inner child. Actually, you know what? That's where I'm gonna pivot right there, because I saw something online. It was in a video. It was in a YouTube video, and I will try my best to let me see if I can. I don't know if I had it pulled up or not. It was in the queue here somewhere, by Levi Hildebrand. Go look up this guy on YouTube. He made a really good video on Labubus, and he was talking about there's a section there's a niche on social media where people are buying these things, and it was part of the trend of buying Labubus where people were buying them to heal their inner child. Okay, we need to unpack this, because you do not heal your inner child by buying a toy. You don't. It could take away some. It could take away some reality that you're living in, right? It could take you out of a space that you're currently in, a headspace that you're currently in, but it's not going to heal your inner child. And mind you, also, so all this is coming back to me now. Mind you, we're not talking about kids buying these. We're talking about millennials and Gen Z buying these. These are grown adults, for the most part. I mean, you're talking like past 16, 17, 18 years old into your 30s, maybe 40s, right? Like, these aren't little kids who don't know any better. These are grown people buying these products saying, God forbid I buy one of these to heal my inner child. You're not healing shit. You're not. You need healing your inner child takes some pretty rigorous and introspective work. Retail therapy can help guide you maybe in a direction. It can help to subtly remove or take you out of a headspace that you're always in. It's not going to heal your inner child. That was and now that I'm like, it's all coming back to me now. Sorry, like I said, I was up late, you know, looking into these things, and it was one of those things where, like, you're trying to cram for an exam, like, because when I do these podcasts, I normally prepare for them throughout the week. I totally was just in a different headspace and focusing on my stream, and I was just, it felt like I was cramming for an exam. I wrote down all these notes, and then the day comes and all the information leaves, right? So I apologize on that part, but I'm glad we were getting on the right track. I'm just going to say this again. You're not healing your inner child by buying one of these. You're not healing your inner child by buying anything. Retail therapy can be, it's like a Band-Aid, right? It'll be there. I don't even think you can compare it to a Band-Aid, right? More like a little dab of Neosporin. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things where you can buy it. It'll give you comfort for maybe 15 minutes, 30 minutes at the most, maybe an hour at the most. Maybe you're on a craze for a day. I don't know. But then you're right back to where you were. Go seek help. Go talk to somebody. Go talk to a therapist. Go talk to a friend. Go talk to a family member. Go vent to a random person on the street. You know how many therapy sessions I've had with complete strangers when I bartended? Go do that. Go to a bar. You don't want to drink, fine. Get a water, get an apple. I don't know. Just go to a bar. Talk to somebody. I feel like more than anything, that's what people need. You know, you don't need a Labubu to heal your inner fucking child. You need to go get help. And I say that with the most love and sincerity possible, as somebody who is married to a psychologist, as somebody who I have done, so I journal regularly, right? Like, I sit down with my thoughts. I close everything. I put my phone away. I sit with myself, and I really just go over past mistakes, or maybe things that people that I've done wrong, and I go through that and I unpack that. And it's hard. It's difficult because you have to train yourself to do that, right? It's not like you have to put yourself in a space where you're comfortable to do that with somebody else, but also with yourself. You have to be able to sit there and just feel comfortable, and you're going to feel awkward, and it probably won't feel right to be, oh, well, why am I going back and revisiting this? Well, because if I'm still thinking about it, then it's probably worth revisiting, right? It had some sort of dramatic effect somewhere in your psyche, and we need to unpack that. Buying Labubus isn't going to fix that. So, I encourage everybody to get out there and get the help that they need, or talk to somebody. Go talk to somebody to heal. You want to heal your inner child? That's the way to do it. So I feel like that's a good place to wrap things up. Labubus, what a craze, man. We're gonna keep seeing these pop off for a little bit while longer, I feel like, and then maybe they'll fall off. I don't know. It's definitely an obsession. It's definitely out of control. And I don't know. I mean, I just think, again, props to the marketing team. I mean, you guys are making it big right now. I don't know, whoever's on that marketing team, man, you guys are, they better give you a pay raise. They better give you, because Casting, I heard the creator became a billionaire. Better be giving you some of that chunk of money, because a large part of the success is the marketing. Hands down. It is the marketing. When you create a craze like this, it's the marketing. The blind boxes, it's the marketing. Right? So the collaborations, it's the marketing, the packaging, marketing, right? So and yes, there are other parts involved in a business, absolutely, but I'm saying just a big part of their success is the marketing team. Give them their props. Give credit where it's due. There's always a marketing. There's always a time in history where you saw with Apple, right? Apple's a perfect example. Saw with Apple, and now you have Labubu, the doll craze that broke the internet. I don't know. And I hope all the success in the world to the company. I really do, and to everybody that has kind of tuned in today. I appreciate you and thank you so much for always tuning in. We're on episode 5. I'm still getting the hang of this. But I feel like we're moving in the right direction. I kind of want to do more things like this. Maybe more trending news. I don't know. I feel like that's a good direction to go. And I've also heard I also want to read more. I need to read more. That's something, that's a goal that I'm going to make. I'm going to make a goal to read more. There's a really good book called The Anxiety Crisis, The Anxiety Generation, The Anxious Generation. The Anxious Generation by Jonathan Haidt, I think is how you pronounce his last name. Again, if I'm butchering names left and right in this podcast, I apologize. The Anxious Generation. I've been recommended this book because I'm on social media. I don't consider myself an anxious individual, but I understand the good and the bad of social media. And a large part of this book is, a big part of this book, I think the overarching idea of this book is explaining as to why this generation is so anxious is because they're getting into a dopamine overload with social media, and rightfully so. There's a lot of studies that support negative associations and things that can happen to your brain consuming too much social media. I'm interested to read this book. I'm going to set a goal for myself to buy this book, and I'm going to read it, and we're going to talk about it next. That's what we're going to talk about next week. We're going to talk about the anxious generation. I just talked myself through the next episode. I love that. I love that for us. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for those that have listened in again today. If you like what you heard, leave a comment below. If you didn't, leave a comment below. Let me know. I want to know your thoughts. I want to know where I, maybe could get better, and maybe what you want to hear. What's going on in your part of the universe or reality that I don't know right now. That maybe would be good to talk about. So with that being said, guys, that's all I have for you today. Go buy Labubu if you haven't yet. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you feel like it. Maybe you don't have to, but I would appreciate it nonetheless. You can find us right here on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram by searching at The Dan Cave Podcast. TikTok and Instagram for a lot of the highlights and just little key moments that I feel like are important to share. You can also find my everyday socials on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram at DKCOSTAA. Again, that's where I stream, and Twitch as well. Danny__Costa. If you want to see me live and have a conversation, I would love that. We could definitely do that. I stream every day from 9 to 3 p.m. MDT, but that's going to change because right now, as I'm recording this, it's 9:12 a.m., so I'm a little behind today, but I think I'm going to change that to 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. just because it gives me a little bit more time to decompress from this, get my notes and get everything squared away, and it also helps me to better prepare for next week. Which I would very much like the time to do. So if you like what you heard, leave a comment below. Again, I'm always checking the comments, or click the link below to fill out the form where you can share your story and get some advice, maybe. I know we didn't do Costa's Corner this week, but that's just because I feel like I want to save that for later episodes when we're actually getting some traction. Hey, guys, thanks so much for listening and watching, and we'll catch you up next Thursday like we do every Thursday right here at 6 a.m. MDT. Also, I just want to say one more thing. Maybe leave this out here. I do these once a week. I'm thinking about pushing it a little bit. when I get to a more comfortable place, because again, it's still relatively new, right? We're only a month in. I'd like to think that, you have to spend at least maybe 8 to 12 weeks doing something before you can start to really venture out into doing more, or pulling back if you feel like you need to. Thinking about maybe doing 2 to 3 episodes a week. Maybe. Let me know. Let me know if that's something you would like. Look, guys, again, I appreciate you guys so much. If you listen, thank you. I will always appreciate every listener that listens in. And thank you guys so much. Have a blessed week. I will see you guys next week. And toodles.